I recorded my wife cheating on me and honestly I can't stop watching it. A couple weeks back, I started planning something special for my wife, a night out, just the two of us, no kids. My parents live about 90 minutes away, so I made arrangements for the kids to spend the weekend with them. Usually, when I go to my parents', I'm gone until later in the evening. We spend all day there and leave around dinner time, but this time, I was just dropping the kids off and heading straight back home. I wanted to surprise my wife so we could go out as soon as possible. I'd even made reservations at a nice restaurant, hoping we could grab a few drinks together before dinner. I left at 8:30 and was back in our housing plan before 12:30. As I pulled onto my street, I saw a truck parked in front of my house. I did not recognize it. I assumed it was someone seeing the neighbors though because, well, it's not that unusual for someone to park in front of our house. So I parked a few houses away thinking, I'd sneak into the house and surprise my wife instead of just pulling in the driveway and going in through the garage. I went in through a basement door. I was as quiet as possible, but as soon as I walked in, I heard her making sounds from the floor above. When I first heard it, I thought she was just by herself, maybe having some personal time. I really didn't want to interrupt her privacy and embarrass her, so I was just going to go back to my car and, go in the garage so she'd know I was home. Then I heard a man's voice. I immediately felt sick. My heart felt like it was going to explode out of my chest. It's hard to describe how I felt in this moment. I decided to go upstairs. I had no desire to confront them, I just wanted to see what was going on. I moved slowly and quietly and went up the stairs. The door was halfway open. The kitchen was empty, but I could tell they were in the living room. It was obvious what was going on at this point by the sounds. There was no way for me to look in the living room without them seeing me, so I pulled out my phone and opened my camera app. I put my phone just around the corner of a wall. Honestly, this part is so hard to write. I could see my wife with a man I didn't recognize. I won't go into detail on what they were doing, but I think you can figure it out. I started recording it thinking that I needed a record of it for whatever I decided to do in the future. I just stood there in my kitchen watching this all unfold on my phone screen. I felt like I could just scream at any moment, but for some reason I just froze completely. This went on for several minutes. She finally jumped off of him and made a comment about going to the bedroom, and they went upstairs. She even made a comment about how much time they had left. I walked into the living room and found the guy's pants. I took his wallet out and took pictures of his driver's license. I know his name and his address now. I've never met him. I have no idea how my wife knows him. I left the house the same way I entered. I went back to my car and cried like the pathetic man I am. I decided to watch the video to make sure it recorded. I watched it all. I'll spare the details, but I sat in my car for at least half an hour. I couldn't just drive to my parents' place and pick up the kids. I'd have to come up with an explanation. So instead, I pulled into the driveway, opened the garage, and tried to act like I was just coming home to surprise her. I took my time before going inside. I made sure to make plenty of noise. When I finally saw her, she seemed really flustered, immediately asking why I was home. She was in her robe, claiming she was just about to take a bath. I told her about my plans and, she seemed excited. She poured us both a glass of wine and said we should pre-game before getting ready. Honestly, I don't think I talked much really. She took me into the living room. I'm not proud of what I let happen. I could faintly see the guy sneaking downstairs and going to the basement stairs, but I didn't say or do anything. I just let my wife continue doing what she was doing to me. Since that day, I've watched the video of her over and over again. I still can't bring myself to decide what to do next. She can tell something's off. She's asked me a few times if I'm okay. I feel worthless, and every time I hit a low point I watch that video again. I think I've watched it at least 10 times a day since I caught them. Sometimes the hardest part is deciding what to do after the truth comes out. Have you ever stayed, even when you knew? Share your experience below and don't forget to subscribe.